How boring. Well, as you can see, guys, today I'm gonna talk about the latest movie I have seen, which is none other than Godzilla vs Kong. The bad news I unfortunately have to say is that this time I cannot talk about this movie inside the Godzilla room like I did last year with Godzilla King of the Monsters. Yep, I'm not doing the review in a cool room like the one that I went last time. So you have to forgive me if this time I am doing this review in a really boring room. I still have this that I got on the Godzilla room. So this is the only thing the only thing Godzilla that I can show you for this review. I was just playing with you guys. Just playing, saying that. Okay, now since we're now in this era, man, it doesn't feel. It feels kind of. It feels like kind of cheap that you, as a big admirer of Godzilla, made kind of like this grand review on a $1,000 hotel room, and with all this cool Godzilla stuff surrounding you. But then now you have a new Godzilla movie, and you're now stuck in your apartment. You can't do it. You can't do it again like last time. It was something kind of like a big one-shot deal. Okay, but enough of that. So anyway, Godzilla versus Kong. While I am a big admirer of Godzilla, I'm a little bit ashamed of myself saying that I never saw the original one. Honestly, it's because I think that I wanted to watch some of the movies that I feel like I could enjoy better, and I'm not exactly one of those King Kong fans that I'll say that, oh man, this was kind of like the greatest movie ever or something like that. Many people say that this is something that they always wanted. They always wanted to see Godzilla versus King Kong ever since King Kong became a thing during that time. So they still. So I know that that old movie has a cult following. I just didn't give myself the time to watch it. But now we got this new era of legendary films showing Godzilla movies, and to give you a little bit of a rundown again, because I think I already gave out my recap of what I think about the Godzilla movies, that I like them well enough. There is the 2014 Godzilla, in which that one I found it okay, and I completely agree with a lot of people that the problem is that it didn't have enough Godzilla, and the humans weren't as memorable. Although I give them credit that they come up with an original monster. In the case of Kong Skull Island, I admit that is really fun. It's a really fun film. Although but I am a bigger fan of Godzilla to support Kong. But I give it credit. At least you kind of knew that they were setting him up and giving him the stats required in order to compete with Godzilla. And then came Godzilla King of the Monsters, the one that I had a great time, because this one I watched it in Tokyo, and it was during almost my final day in Japan. If you see my review out of it, I did it on the Godzilla room from Shinjuku, and that was awesome. Let me tell you, an awesome experience. I mean, it was kind of like watching an iconic Japanese film on its native land. As for the movie itself, I heard many people they have were kind of like mixed feelings, but most of it, people were saying that, I hated the movie. But I'm actually more on the minority because I had a blast with that film. It's just fun. You just throw all the logic out of the window. Some of the characters were okay. But this one gave a little bit more respect to Godzilla in the sense that we get to see more of him. And Godzilla and King versus King Ghidorah is one of the most iconic moments of Godzilla. But now we got Godzilla versus Kong. And what are my thoughts about it? I saw it on the big screen, which was appropriate because I don't think this movie can hold a candle if you watch it on HBO Max. And from what I'm telling you is that I did have a blast. I like the film. I like it. I had a lot of fun. Just mindless fun. This is something that you rarely now get to see when it's about monster movies. So I'm gonna give this movie kind of like the maximum props on saying that it's totally fun. But I have problems. I do have big problems that makes me feel that this movie wasn't as great as it is. But this problem is mostly stemmed on a little bit of my personal views. So the problems is really minor. Even though they still have some of the typical problems of a kaiju film, in which it usually falls on the terms that, well, the humans are not interesting, but they're the ones that sets the motion of the film. This one has no exception, but it has this big problem that I'll get into it. But anyway, I'm here to talk about Godzilla vs. Kong. I'll do my best to give you kind of like the minimal understanding of what this movie about in synopsis. So basically, in the movie is that Godzilla is going on a rampage, destroying cities. Even though people are like, how the hell is that our Titanic hero became a villain and destroying buildings? Guys, which begs the question: why would you think Godzilla is a hero? Yeah, let's say that it's just a big giant dinosaur that goes with, that always goes because of his instincts. So I wouldn't call it a hero, but more like a necessary evil in some cases, or the lesser of all evil. So. But either way, I really like this ambiguity of this creature. So anyway, basically he's destroying things. People are getting kind of like suspicious, but anyway, there is also this company who is also suspicious. What was the name of it? Apex. Yeah, the company is called Apex. That one is suspicious, and at the same time, they're looking for some. They're looking some kind of like a MacGuffin that can only be encountered on Skull Island. While in the meantime, there's another party who technically captured King Kong from Skull Island, and technically they need him to guide it to these things, while at the same time thinking that King Kong is the one that could potentially be a rival enough to put Godzilla into its place. And that's all the almost all the synopsis that I can tell you without ruining a lot. Right on the get-go, I will tell you my biggest problem that I have with this movie. People are gonna hate me for this. The biggest problem that I have with this movie is King Kong. Yeah, I know. Why would I be complaining about King Kong? Because I'm a little bit of a bias of Godzilla. But it's not just me. This movie apparently has a bias with favoring Kong. When I think that if I could make it, polish it a little bit better, I think that this movie should have benefit if they could have no sides. No one should ally with one monster, especially when you're talking about versus, because at the end of the day, both are monsters. And the only reason they sided with Kong a lot is in my mind is because he's the closest to being human, kind of like a primate, which basically is kind of like one of the biggest problems that I also had with this movie starring Dwayne Johnson, which is based on a video game called Rampage. If you don't remember that movie, Rampage was this film in which starred Dwayne Johnson, which is based on a video game. Which basically, I will tell you, going quickly, that it has a giant ape, a giant lizard, and a giant wolf. And the games didn't have any favorites, but the movie problem is that it favored the ape because, well, again, is the closest thing to a human. It's the closest thing to human intelligence. And I was very pissed off by this movie that it took a side, it took favorites. And this one, it has that same problem. We had a lot of Kong. And honestly, even King Kong has more screen time than Godzilla. And that's not fair. It's not fair for the people who side with Godzilla, and it's not fair for me who admires Godzilla, and it's not fair for Godzilla himself. So, you favor Godzilla, you didn't favor Godzilla, or actually didn't give him a fair shot. King Kong was given too much. And by the way, the other reason why they made Kong more prominent is basically because in the movie he's having this bond with this little girl, which is the for me, it's kind of like a tiring trope in which you always take kind of like a cute little kid, kind of like the face of innocence, to communicate kind of like the big monster, which in some ways I can accept it, but I don't think this movie kind of had that. Look, I didn't think that this movie kind of needed it. It's basically this mute girl who communicates with Kong in signs, and well, it may kind of sound cute, I'll say. Personally, I found it a little bit cringy. But this is more kind of like a personal taste more than anything. I mean, she's a good actress. I'm glad that at least the kid is not annoying like many times. But I don't think this movie kind of needed it. When I saw her bonding with Kong, I was like, oh no, you did it. But it's mostly because, again, this kind of showed that the movie, it was pretty biased with Kong. It wanted to side with Kong. It felt like, and I don't think that this movie was ready for that. If this could have been kind of like a separate film, maybe I could have bought it, or maybe I could have forgiven it. this kind of causes this balance out of it. So basically, they were not just they were just kind of cementing, you know, Kong's relationship with this little girl, but basically they were kind of also using him to so they can lead people to Skull Island because, well, Kong wanted to go home. They also want to lead him to, you know, to the island because there are some MacGuffin rocks that what was it, the Apex company needs it because they need something to ward off Godzilla since you know he's going on a rampage against cities. But in the meantime, honestly, I like the movie better when it's centered on Godzilla for some reason. Because for some reason the Godzilla things have kind of like the most interesting scenes, while the other, they cram up, it has so much glorification to Kong that I was like, okay, where's Godzilla? I want to see Godzilla. When the Godzilla plot is coming. I mean, even Godzilla is almost barely mentioned in the Kong part, but in the Godzilla part, I was like, okay. But I think mostly it's because in the Godzilla part, it has the better characters. Not only the company, but the Godzilla part mostly centers this conspiracy theorist played by what was the name of the guy? Brian Tyree Henry. This guy is almost like kind of like Caillou Ben Shapiro, but unlike Ben Shapiro, this guy actually tries to take action and tries to get some information. And boy, that his plot is kind of interesting. Of, you know, this crazy guy trying to find out that, okay, I'm telling you that it's true, and the one who buys it is actually what was the name of the actress Millie Bobby Brown, who she plays a grown-up version of the girl from Godzilla King of the Monsters. Who she has a little bit. She became a fan of this guy, and she kind of believes that Kong saved her life from the last movie. So she thinks that something is wrong with Godzilla, that he might not attack something like that. And she also drags the kid from Deadpool 2. What was the name of the kid, at least? Julian Dennison. Yeah, the kid from Deadpool 2. Man, that their chemistry is a little bit forced, but at least I was entertained. I was entertained because I was digging it. Again, because I think that was the plan. The plan is that they glorify so much Kong that when they passed through the Godzilla moments, I was like, huh, now things are into it. But you know what? As much as I didn't like much of the girls and the Kong dynamic, just in case, it's not because I hate kids. I only dislike the manipulation of children in media when they kind of use the cuteness kind of like a factor in order to that kind of derails the narrative, or not the narrative, but kind of like the nature of the behavior of monsters. Sometimes I can accept it, but this one was a little bit cringy, but very minor. But either way, if it's about the little girl manipulating Kong, or well, manipulating quote unquote, or the conspiracy theorist nutcases, at least the movie actually is successful on its goal, because the main goal is what what everyone wanted is to have Godzilla versus King Kong. And when these creatures battle, this is where the movie succeeds, and it's amazing. I absolutely really like the action scenes, and when things happen, there's nothing else to talk about. You just sit there, forget that everything happened, and just enjoy the scenery like if you're watching a wrestling match but with giant monsters. Because, I mean, this is what we went into it. Nothing else. The other plot, as much as I complain a little bit, as much as I complain that this movie had too much Kong, that's only on the cinematographic level. But sometimes you just need to watch it, watch and enjoy yourself, at least for a couple of minutes. So I forgive you, film. I forgive you for all the faults. But man, it's so I have nothing much to say. This kind of become a little bit short to talk about it. And by the way, there is a twist. There is a twist, but it's a great twist. But how? I'm not gonna reveal it here. I'm not gonna reveal it. But the least I could say is that that twist, while it feels a little bit unnecessary, but it kind of earned it. I think it earned better than having Wonder Woman in Batman vs Superman. And by the way, as much as people clamor Wonder Woman in that movie, I hate it. I hate Wonder Woman in Batman vs Superman. She didn't earn that. But this one it actually felt earned. So, but what it is, again, nope, I'm not gonna tell you. But it's fun. It looks great. And it feels earned. So that's pretty much all I have to say about this movie. Man, this one went short. So if you want a Godzilla King Kong battle in which you've been waiting for a long time ever since the classic film, you got your wish granted. I'm glad that they have this build up. The only thing that really disappoints me is how too much King Kong it had compared to Godzilla, because again, I'm more a Godzilla fan. I'm on Team Godzilla. You need so if there's only one to correct about this film, is that more Godzilla. We need more Godzilla. You had too much King Kong. What you had? You had your satisfaction with Godzilla King of the Monsters. Well, so what? It's still a standalone movie. I want to feel that I want to root for Godzilla. And by the way, yes, despite that he was treated kind of like the villain, I still support Godzilla, because I'm very neutral out of it. I would have supported King Kong if he was also kind of like a bad guy, but he was more treated like a hero, which while many King Kong fans will like it, that kind of took me out a little bit. But that's it. I'm not exactly gonna talk more about this movie. If you just want to enjoy it, Just turn off your brain and... Huh? Oh no. You're kidding me. He followed me up to here?